Wanna go from this to this? Want to know your own art style as an artist? Your artistic identity? How to get better in drawing? Reach me out on links below. I'm picking only 5 applicants for free to help them for a month, to help you reach your own dreams, to get you onto the right path toward your goal, being an artist, being an illustrator, being a concept artist, being a colorist or a letterer. Help you be a full-time artist. We all have these questions about how to get better in drawing. Getting better into drawing with pencils, with digitals, illustration, how to draw a comic page. Comic page, manga page is always a struggle to many of us. But together we will make it fun, so you can start making your own dreams come true. How to have a storytelling ability. Inking art styles. Color basics, cell shade, cuts. Digital painting. Together we'll know how. Gesture is one of the most important trainings, workouts, practice any artist must do. Together we are going to draw. We also hear from the pros and have advice, professional advice from the ones in the industry, masters of the industry too. Character design, concept art, digital painting, comics, mangas. Listen to the experience of other creators, other artists, other writers from all over the globe. Reach me out on the links below. So I'm picking only 5 applicants, so it can make it easier on you and on your dreams. Have fun. This is Andrew Henry. I left my desk job to be a full-time artist. I'm willing to help you reach your goals. go from this to this? Want to know your own art style as an artist, your artistic identity, how to get better in drawing? Reach me out, the links below. I'm picking only 5 applicants for free to help them for a month, to help you reach your own dreams, to get you onto the right path toward your goal, being an artist, being an illustrator, being a concept artist, being a colorist or a letterer. Help you be a full-time artist. We all have these questions about how to get better in drawing. Getting better into drawing with pencils, with digitals, illustration, how to draw a comic page. Comic page, manga page is always a struggle to many of us. But together we will make it fun, so you can start making your own dreams come true. How to have a storytelling ability. Inking art styles. Color basics, cell shade, cuts. Digital painting. Together we'll know how. Gesture is one of the most important trainings, workouts, practice any artist must do. Together we are going to draw. We also hear from the pros and have advice, professional advice from the ones in the industry, masters of the industry too, character design, concept art, digital painting, comics, mangas. Listen to the experience of other creators, other artists, other writers from all over the globe. Reach me out on the links below, so I'm picking only 5 applicants, so it can make it easier on you and on your dreams. Have fun. This is Andrew Henry. I left my desk job to be a full-time artist. I'm willing to help you reach your goals. Wanna go from this to this? Want to know your own art style as an artist, your artistic identity, how to get better in drawing? Reach me out on the links below. I'm picking only 5 applicants for free to help them for a month, to help you reach your own dreams, to get you onto the right path toward your goal, being an artist, being an illustrator, being a concept artist, being a colorist or a letterer. Help you be a full-time artist. We all have these questions about how to get better in drawing. Getting better into drawing with pencils, with digitals, illustration, how to draw a comic page. Comic page, manga page is always a struggle to many of us. But together we will make it fun, so you can start making your own dreams come true. How to have a storytelling ability. Inking art styles. Color basics, cell shade, cuts. Digital painting. Together we'll know how. Gesture is one of the most important trainings, workouts, practice any artist must do. Together we are going to draw. We also hear from the pros and have advice, professional advice from the ones in the industry, masters of the industry too, character design, concept art, digital painting, comics, mangas. Listen to the experience of other creators, other artists, other writers from all over the globe. Reach me out on the links below. So I'm picking only 5 applicants, so it can make it easier on you and on your dreams. Have fun. This is Andrew Henry. I left my desk job to be a full-time artist. I'm willing to help you reach your goals. Wanna go from this to this? Want to know your own art style as an artist? Your artistic identity? How to get better in drawing? Reach me out on the links below. I'm picking only 5 applicants for free to help them for a month. To help you reach your own dreams, to get you onto the right path toward your goal, being an artist, being an illustrator, being a concept artist, being a colorist or a illustrator. Help you be a full-time artist. We all have these questions about how to get better in drawing, better into drawing with pencils, digitals, illustration, how to draw a comic page. Comic page, manga page is always a struggle to many of us. But together we will make it fun, so you can start making your own dreams come true. How to have a storytelling ability. Inking art styles. Color basics, cell shade, cuts, digital painting. Together we'll know how. Gesture is one of the most important trainings, workouts, practice any artist must do. Together we are going to draw. We also hear from the pros and have advice, professional advice from the ones in. Hello there everyone, thank you so much for coming to the CMW workshop, comics, manga, webcomics workshop, as we learn too many stuff, how to work fast, how to be better at inking, design characters, world building, character development, getting your manga format onto Webtoon format, getting better as an artist and overcoming your obstacles. I'm your host, Andrew Henry, for the 3 days, so many thanks again for joining us. But first, let's check some rules before we head to introduce our guest for the night. This session is about 60 minutes long. Feel free to post your questions in the chat area. We may not be able to answer all the questions. Respect the instructors during the sessions. Please be kind and respectful, no hate speech or harassment. All sessions will be uploaded and edited on YouTube. Also, let's mention our Facebook group, Artists Jobs and Showcase, group to help featuring artists, showcase writers, company owners, indie creators, a place to offer and see commissions for creators, artists, buy and sell custom comic art, beside making online videos with tips and tricks to help our community be more productive. We must also mention our sponsors. We wouldn't be here or wouldn't be creating this workshop the way it looks like now without them. First, couple comics, then is to use King Midas Media and Entertainment, Zero G, a podcast for tabletop games, digitizers for digital solutions, and gadgets for artists and creators. We must mention our contest here. The contest deadline is 15th of November. You got 3 guidelines to make it easier on you. Your hero protagonist having a hard time. Hero protagonist tried resolving the problem. A bigger problem appears. The rules are so simple. Applicants must sign the workshop form. I guess you already did that. Black and white, 10 panel minimum, 2 comic page minimum. Best action sequences. Any ideas or characters, no nudity. We got 3 awards, 3 type awards. First one is Digitizers Award, XP Pen, Deco V2 exclusive to Egypt. 200 cash prize from Zenith Studios and King Midas Media Entertainment, everywhere but Egypt. And 2 license from Clip Studio Paint EX2 license, 6 months valid for a device of your own choice. Send entry and personal info address to couplecomics.ent@gmail.com. Now let's introduce our instructors. Let's meet the creator, Zell Den, creator and artist of Immortal Blood Webtoon, boxer at boxing and works at public safety at City of Jersey City, and an admin of Facebook group, artist shops, and showcase. We do have with him GM Dave, man behind the screen, writer of Pheonix Rising, host of Zero G podcast on YouTube, a podcast for tabletop games. So we'll pass the session, the mic to Zell now.
Hello?
There's Zell?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
How's everything going?
Everything's good. Unfortunately, Dave has been stuck in traffic coming home from work. So he may jump in later or he may not. So but we're still, ready to roll. And
Okay.
I'm here to answer any
Well,
questions you or anyone else has while I'm, doing this course.
cool. So I'm leaving the mic to you, and please share your screen and start your workshop.
All right. So I'm Creator Z. I'm here to basically talk to you about creating your characters, creating your worlds, and how to go about doing that, how I go about doing it. Um, I do a little bit of, I obviously have my own webtoon called Immortal Blood, and I also have a thing where I help other creators and other writers with their concepts and characters and stories and things like that. So there's 20 questions that you have to ask yourself during the course of creating your story, creating your character, and creating your world in order to try to flesh it out. And obviously, there's going to be more questions, but we're trying to keep this as short as possible within a 16-minute time period. So we're going to go through that. I'm going to show a little bit of my comic. I'm on 3 platforms right now: Webtoon, Tapas, and Black Sands Publishing. Um, and Black Sands Publishing was something I had to be invited to be a part of. It wasn't like, Tapas and Webtoon. Anybody could publish. You could just go on there and upload. But I had to be invited to get onto Black Sands Publishing, um, and that was because the uh, owner editor of that application, he saw my work and he was really impressed by it. So um, I'm on those 3 applications, and I'm going to show a little bit of my work as well as we kind of go through it. So here we go. We're going to start out with question number 1. So hope you guys can see this. Andrew, can you chime in? Can they see this?
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen right now.
Oh, so they see my question number 1.
Yeah, create your main character protagonist.
All right. So the number 1 question you have is, obviously you want to start. This is the start, is creating your main character protagonist. So, this is how you want to start. This is the first thing you want to, do. Obviously, when you're creating your world or your story, is you want to create your main character. Now, sometimes you may want to go a different route and actually create like a scenario, or because I've done that, create a scenario or a situation. And I was going to kind of do an exercise if GM Dave had got on to kind of show you how I would do it, where, basically a situation would be something like, okay, the character starts off on an island, right? And he's on this island and there's, not a lot of other people around, but why is he on that island? and then I kind of would build the world from there, to give the reason why he's on the island and, a purpose to get off the island and to explore the world. And then, okay, where you go from there. So that's kind of where I would start with a situation. Sometimes you may want to start with a character. So I may start with a character, someone in school uh, who has psychic powers or is a wizard, and now is he in a wizard school? Is he in a normal school? Is he a wizard in a regular school where there's other wizards running around? Like, what's going on? So that's the first thing you want to do is create your character, and then we're gonna move on to question number 2. So that's question number 2 is exactly where I was going. Think of a scenario for the character, which is what I was saying before about the wizard in a school. So now I do not have a story about this, a wizard in a school. This is just me right now off the top of my head coming up with a story. And I may follow this throughout the entire um, segment in order for you to understand this is how I create a story. So I'm gonna stick with that premise. Okay, we're gonna stick with the wizard in the school. So this is the scenario that he's in, right? Um, let's just say he's either in middle school or a freshman in high school, somewhere around that age, and he is a wizard. Now, I'll probably put it to where it's something where he's in a regular school with regular kids. So he's probably the only wizard, or maybe there's a few others in the school hiding out that he may discover during the course of the story. So this is the scenario that I have: is a wizard in a school, right? Um, and obviously, now you have a conflict of, are people aware that wizards exist? You know, um, maybe some people are, maybe some people aren't. Who knows, right? So let's actually, yeah, let's move on. Okay, so you have the 3 W's: the who, what, why. The who, what. No, I'm sorry. There's 4 W's as number 3. The so it's 4 W's: who, what, where, and why. Okay, so the name of the character would be who he is. Um, we don't have to give him a name here, but let's just say we call him Cyrus. His name is Cyrus. For the rest of the segment, we're gonna call him Cyrus. So Cyrus, what is he? He's a wizard. Where? In middle school. Why? Um, Now that's the question I was going to a little bit in the other section. Um, so really, when you get to why, the question is like, why is he in a school where there's not a lot of other where there aren't a lot of other wizards? Is there a wizarding school? And here I'm going to say, okay, let's just say maybe there is a wizarding school, right? But the wizarding school is probably for the elite wizards, people who parents or have used their wizarding powers to make an awful lot of money. People who come from a certain bloodline or something like that. Who knows? We're not going to get too deep into it. This is just surface level stuff that I'm coming up with, and I'm just going to create a story as we kind of go along with this whole process here. Um, so as to why, we'll say that there's not a lot of people aware that wizards really exist, and though some people are aware, and um, he just doesn't come from a background or family that affords him to be able to go to the private school of wizards. So he's going to a public school. So the next question is how. You know, um, that's a question that um, you would really get into with in terms of you know how is he a wizard, right? Or how does he go to the school or whatever? I mean, why does he go to the school or how? So the thing is that we're gonna say in terms of how is he a wizard? Um, we'll say that maybe he suffers from a situation where, excuse me, the wizarding genes somehow skipped his parents. So his parents are normal people for some reason or another, and he got the genes from his grandparents or something like that. So that's how he's a wizard. All right. So uh let's move on to the next one. How? From how? Are there others? In this scenario, yeah, there are other wizards. Um, there's an entire community of wizards. Um, there's like I said, there's an entire private school of elite wizards. Um, so at number 5, what I'm going to do here is we're actually going to share. I'm going to share another screen right now. Hold on. And let's look at the Immortal Blood. So let's go all the way to the first chapter here. There, I got my cover. All right. My symbol, chapter title. So here we have the village. You see, giving you a little bit of background here, where there's swordsman training. Someone under a waterfall here. Someone's running. They're tired. All right. So here you go. And what you have here is this character saying that he can't die. He's gonna be the number one swordsman one day. So in this sentence here, I've given you a little bit of his motivation. And so you know that he's somewhere near where there's other swordsmen training. He's doing his solitary training under a waterfall, and his goal is to be the number one swordsman. So there you go. This is his friend Koharu. She wants to become the first woman to enter the top 10. And then she wants to also beat him to be the number one swordsman. So they have a friendly rivalry there. Here comes the master. He's going to give them a lesson. They team up and they attack him. So here I've introduced you to 3 very crucial characters who have a different role in all of this. And as you can see, you kind of get a little bit of a motivation from both of those characters in the first chapter here. And as you can see, the master is much stronger and faster than them, uh, showing that they have a lot of uh, ways to go. So and then you have chapter 2. So I really want to get to a certain part in chapter 2. So the master is here challenging him to show him his resolve. He does his famous move, the air slash. They keep training. And quickly, the main character realizes that the master is really in a league of his own. So that gives him a goal and understanding that he still has a lot to do. He has a lot to grow. And there's a lot more for him to accomplish there. So we're going to go back to our questions. Are there others? There's other wizards. So we're back to the wizards, right? Okay. Backstory and motivation. And that's kind of what I just showed you there. Because in Immortal Blood, that story, Ted Susan's a young man, and in the very next chapter, there's a 5-year time skip where he is now a teenager. And as you saw, what you saw was a little bit of his backstory, and you saw what his motivation was. So we'll say with the whole wizarding thing that this character, his backstory, Cyrus, is that he is someone who's faced a lot of prejudice because of his abilities, him being a wizard, and as a part of that prejudice, he has gained a few friends, but they can't really protect him from those who still bully him, and he understands that he can't use his wizard powers to harm those because they're actually afraid of him, and he doesn't want to give them a reason to actually be afraid of him. So he actually wants to find a way to build a bridge between himself as a wizard and normal people. So you want to develop strengths and weaknesses in your character. So you don't want your character to be, and I think this may be in the next point or something. Let me see. Oh no, okay. You don't want to be have your character to be too strong unless that's the purpose of the story. So what I mean is, there's a manga writer known as One who writes One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100, and in both of those mangas and animes that they've been turned into, the main character is absurdly strong. But that's the purpose of the show or the manga, is for the character to be that strong, and how they kind of deal with their absurd strength. Um, One being a very awkward person because of his inability to form relationships and attachments to people because of his supernatural strength, and the other one, he is actually seeking excitement, and he has an existential crisis on his mind because he's achieved such a level of strength that he's just bored. Nothing can hurt him, nothing can harm him. So he actually is seeking a thrill and excitement out of life. And the only thrill that he gets out of life currently is to be a hero and help people. So those are the purposes of the story. Um, but you want to develop weaknesses for your character that therefore they have to overcome them. Now, I'm going to tell you that in Immortal Blood, the weakness of the main character is a couple of things. Um, he does have a personality that doesn't allow him to quit. Now, some people may see that as a strength, uh, but there's a such thing as like, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And another character from shonen anime or manga that has that type of quirk, and it's a standard shonen quirk, and that is uh, Gon from Hunter x Hunter. Gon from Hunter x Hunter does not know when to quit, and he has actually had to have been knocked out by some of his allies in order to get them out of a situation in which they would have died otherwise. So I'm not gonna say that, I haven't. I'm not gonna say that my main character in Immortal Blood has that as far as Gon has it, but that is one of his quirks is that he doesn't know when to quit. Another weakness is he does have an arrogant personality, um, and um, obviously it's his inexperience. Him being so young, he still has a lot to learn, and he's um, gonna enter a world where there are very powerful people, and so he's gonna have to sink or swim. So the main weakness of the character is his inexperience. Um, when you tie that into a level of arrogance and a stubbornness where he doesn't know when to quit, it could create some very um, chaotic circumstances for himself and those people around him. So, you know, but for this wizard character, we're gonna say that as far as this character goes, we're gonna give him a weakness of similar to Mob from Mob Psycho, where he just doesn't have um, a lot of ability to you know um, make friends because he doesn't really know how to control his powers. Let's say that he doesn't know how to control his powers because he hasn't been taught by other wizards how to control his powers, and so he couldn't form relationships with people, social relationships with people because he can't play sports. He can't, uh, do things like that because of his abnormal strength or abnormal speed. Things that you know it's not really um, fair for other people around him. Sorry. So, does the MC have a rival? Um, as you can see, in Immortal Blood, the MC does have a friendly rival. Um, so there's different type of rivals for your main character as well. You have friendly rivals. You have and you have rivals that are antagonists. So they're a person who's gonna be their opposite or whose goals don't align with theirs. So you have someone who's there, and then you have neutral rivals as well. So in Immortal Blood, Tetsuzin has friendly rivals, neutral rivals, and he also has a antagonistic rival as well. So I'm going to show you. Oh, sorry. I'm going to show you in the webtoon some of those rivals. Uh, let's go back. Trying to think where they show up. Where does he show up? Oh yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me. So you already saw the friendly rival, actually. Let's. I think I went too far back. I did. So I'm going to show you a neutral rival. Okay. Here we go. They're back. They're eating. There's monsters in my story. That's his neutral rival right here. His name is Genshi. So this is someone who's not really an antagonist, but he's not really a friend either. So Koharu is his friend, is Tetsuzen's friend. They're very close. They're almost like siblings. This guy is someone who grew up around. He's in the same. He has the same master. They're in the same, dojo. Um, and this is someone who doesn't particularly like Tetsuzen, the main character of Immortal Blood, and um, he takes every chance that he gets to um, really mess with him. The thing is that he's not really a bad guy though. He's just someone that um, him and Tetsuzen have this thing where they compete with each other to the point where they just get on each other's nerves a lot. So there's going to be a lot of this is his arrogance coming out, but there's going to be a lot of antagonists who become his rival, but there's going to be one like main one who I'll introduce you to. It should be here. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's Genshi after having a battle with Tetsuzen's future rival right here, Prince Juro. So this is the antagonist of the show of this series, Immortal Blood, that I've created. He's going to be Tetsuzen's main rival. Um, I kind of wanted it to be uniquely done, where every time Tetsuzen grows, he's gonna grow. And there's a reason that I had Juro and Genshi fight each other because they both had that position as rival, one neutral, one antagonistic. Because I wanted to show that Juro is the greater of the two. Juro's the better one. He's the bigger threat. Um, so you understand that there's levels to the rivals, to the antagonists of the series. Let's go back to our questions. Does a character fit an archetype? So what I mean by that, does a character fit an archetype, is so there's your standard shonen protagonist. You take a character like Gon, you take a character like Goku, you take a character like Naruto or Luffy, and sorry about that. Hold on, I got does the character fit an archetype? Yeah. So I said Goku, Naruto, Luffy, Gon. Uh, you could even take like Ichigo from Bleach. These are characters who are they love battle, they love to fight. They're not the brightest bulbs, light bulbs. Um, they may have other things about them, like they like to eat, or they like to eat a certain uh style of food or something like that. Um, so really, that's what those characters, they fill a certain archetype. Um, and uh, does your character fit that archetype, or do they fit the archetype of like someone who's more intelligent? Uh, usually the intelligent characters aren't really the main characters, but there are some shows that have intelligent main characters, such as from Zatch Bell, Kyo, which was a mix because Zatch was the standard shonen protagonist, but Kyo was really, I think, the main character, and he was the intelligent one. And then you have um, Light from uh, Death Note, who is extremely intelligent. These are characters who, uh, you know, or even Ed from Full Metal Alchemist. These are characters that are very smart, very intelligent, and you know, they kind of fit a different archetype than your standard, shonen protagonist. Um, so what archetype does your character fit, or do they even fit an archetype? Are you going to make them unique and different from the standard archetypes that other uh, shonen protagonists do? So again, this kind of goes back into the other thing I was talking about, putting a Mary Sue and giving the character some flaws. Um, and giving the character some flaws. So a Mary Sue is a character who does everything perfectly. They, learn things extremely fast, or they already know how to do it. For some reason, they already know how to do things that would require another character, months, weeks, or years to learn. You know, uh, you want to show growth, you want to show your character struggling, again, unless it fits the narrative. So like I said, with One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100, those two stories are shows where the character doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses, and it kind of fits the story, because of the story that one is telling um, within those particular stories. So you have uh, your long term goals or short term goals. Um, you know, um, in Immortal Blood, I have two sets of goals. I have two goals, mainly for Tetsuzan. a long-term goal and a short-term. Not really. I think both of them are kind of long-term. One is indefinite, and one doesn't really have a time period, but it's more achievable. Um, which obviously you saw one, which is to become the number one swordsman. It's a long-term goal, but it is achievable, and there is a rate in which he can track it. Um, the other goal is he eventually gets assigned to protect a very powerful and ancient artifact called the Immortal Blood, and that's a long-term goal that's more indefinite because there are a lot of circumstances going on in that world that he may not be able to pass it off to someone else. He may be the guardian of the Immortal Blood forever. So how do the goals fit into the narrative? So, you know, you don't want to give your character a goal that doesn't fit into your story. Meaning, like, if I was to take Tetsuzan and say, oh, he's a swordsman, and he gets assigned as the, guardian of the Immortal Blood, but I want his goal to be the greatest chef in the world. That really doesn't fit into my narrative. I would have to shoehorn that into the story where the two goals I have kind of, work together. They work hand in hand because the more powerful of a swordsman he becomes, the better of a guardian of the Immortal Blood he can be. Um, and there's a lot of other swordsmen who are dealing with other artifacts, and in particular, his antagonistic rival wants the artifact that he guards. So there's a lot going on there where those two goals kind of work together. But you don't want to have a character have a goal that doesn't really work within your narrative for that character. So if I could introduce, because that's what One Piece does. One Piece has several different characters, and each one of them has different goals, but all of them kind of work together somehow. They all kind of work together with their goals. So you want your goals to fit within the narrative of your story. Sorry. Okay. So another thing you want to think about is what are their powers? Are any of their powers hidden? Are you going to have any hidden powers? So uh back to the wizard thing. You know, if I was to give him powers, let's say he was uh uh someone who controls, I don't know, you know um celestial energy. He had the power of a star or something like that. So you know and then you want to see are any powers, are there any hidden powers? I mean, let's just say he was given the power of a star that's alive and a star that's dead. So dead stars become black holes. So he has the ability to control star energy and black hole energy. So but that's more of a hidden power, and maybe coincides with his state of emotion, or something like that. So um uh so there you have it right there. So um you want to determine if your character is going to have any hidden powers. I mean, a lot of shonen protagonists have hidden powers, hidden abilities, things like that. But um um you some of them don't. I mean, Hunter x Hunter Gon really didn't have any hidden powers. He had a lot of potential, but he didn't have any hidden powers. Naruto obviously has hidden powers. Um, Luffy sort of does. I don't want to say it's hidden because a lot of the abilities that he has that are quote unquote hidden, a lot of other people have them too. So, he just is very creative with his abilities and his powers and learning new ways to use them. Um, but there's a lot of other characters in there with hockey and other things like that. So, whether it's Conqueror's Hockey or whatever. There's a lot of other characters in there with those abilities. So I wouldn't say Luffy really has any hidden powers. Uh, Goku really didn't have any hidden powers. His were unique, but we'll talk about that later. Um, but he wasn't. It wasn't hidden. So Ichigo did. He had a hidden power. So you want to determine whether your character has hidden powers or if it's not really a hidden power, but it's unique to the story. And see, so there we go with the next one. Make the main character unique to other characters. So you don't want your main character to be the run of the mill. Everybody's kind of running around, and that's what I was saying. Like, even though Luffy has abilities that everyone else has, no one has the same devil fruit that he has. So with his devil fruit, he could be creative in using his devil fruit. Um, and the character is unique. And if you really think about it, almost every character that's on his ship is unique. Zoro uses three swords. Sanji uses his feet. Um, you know, Usopp is the only character that uses a slingshot, you know, style weapon. Nami controls the weather. So all the characters are really unique from a show. And you want your main character really to be very unique. All of your main characters, not just the central protagonist, but you want the other main characters to be very unique as well. Um, you don't want everyone in the story running around with the same abilities. Uh, and as you can see, Goku in Dragon Ball was very unique with his monkey tail, and then they explained it in Dragon Ball Z that he was an alien that came from another planet. And you know, uh, he didn't really become as unique later, but as you can start to see, um, there are differences between Goku and the other Saiyans. Um, so you really want your character to be very unique, very different, and I want to talk about that a little bit because even a physical appearance, like a symbol or physical appearance, a lot of manga authors do that. They give the like if you look at Naruto with the orange jumpsuit and the yellow hair, there weren't a lot of characters running around with orange jumpsuits and yellow hair. And the only character I could think of off the top of my head with yellow hair was his father. Um, so it's not really a lot of characters running around with yellow hair. Um, in orange jumpsuits. Ichigo, same thing. He had the orange hair. There wasn't a lot of characters running around with orange hair. So Goku's character with the spiky hair in Dragon Ball, there wasn't really a lot of characters running around with that hairstyle. And that hairstyle is very unique to him as well. Uh, so you really want your character to be unique, not only power wise, but visually. You want your character to be unique. So let's go into uh, Immortal Blood here. Uh, Trying to think of where I could see like a good. Let's go back. Good picture. So here I have Tetsuzan, and the unique thing I wanted with him was the symbol here. This symbol has meaning that I haven't revealed yet in the story, but that symbol there is his unique trait, as well as the scarf. The scarf is his unique trait. So I wanted the character to have a scarf, and I wanted him to have a unique symbol with him, so that you'll always know who he is. And as you can see in the story, I'll make a concerted effort to not have any one other character have this red gi on at all. There'll never be a character that has this red gi. So or kimono. So there'll never be another character that has that. uh, at some point, I did realize that the hairstyle, through people messaging me, that the hairstyle was very similar to another uh, character from a sort of obscure anime. So I had Tetsuzi cut his hair uh, later on. Let me see. Let me see. It's in this episode. This is after the main character and the main antagonist actually go through very similar training from their masters. So this is Ted Susan being awarded a very powerful sword in his first act is to take that sword and cut his hair. Now, like I said, I have him do it in the story for honor reasons, but honestly, it was because the hair design was very close to another character. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even show any of that. I feel stupid now. I thought that the screen was sharing. Sorry. So here we go. Sure, I'll go back up. So his design where he cuts his hair. So he cuts his hair. So I'll go back and I'll show the photo that I showed before that I kind of missed out. I didn't realize that I hadn't switched the screen over. Sorry about that. So it's my cover photo, chapter 5, and you see he wears a red gi. He has his scarf, and this symbol here has meaning. So those are the things that I wanted to make him unique in the story. So let's go back to our questions. You want your character to be unique. Okay, so number 15, 15 of 20. Don't have your characters do things pointlessly. There's a main question that you always want to ask yourself when you're building your story and your character, and um, you want to keep your character within the same, you know, sort of actions that he would take. So you just gotta ask yourself, what would this character do? And this is you don't want to have your character do things pointlessly. So don't have the character do something just because, or just because you want it to happen, or just because it fits your story for that time. You have to ask yourself why. And why allows you to expand your story a little more. So why does your character go visit this person? Why does your character go visit that person? Why does your character do this? Why does your character do that? You know, you have to ask yourself why. Why did they do that? And it'll allow you to kind of create. And that's when I help people with their stories and writing and things like that. That is a major question that I always ask them. Why did your character do that? Why does your character do this? And it's not to upset them in any way, shape, or form, but uh it's not to upset them in any way, shape, or form, but it is just to get them to think about. It's just to get them to think about how they can expand their story into a bigger or to make sense of why their character is doing these things. And it also could have you expand the story into other areas, um, that you may have not, visited or ventured into later or otherwise. So here you go. Number 16, create secrets for the character and the world to be revealed over time. So if you really if you pay attention to a lot of shonen style anime, and I'm using a lot of the big ones, even though there's other ones that I could use. Um, One central thing about really almost any story is secrets. Um, we fall in love with secrets because we want to know them. There are things that we don't know. We want to know the unknown, right? So these are things that really hook your fans, and they make them want to come back for more. These secrets, right? So one of the things that Naruto did was they had Naruto have the nine tail fox, and they never really revealed a lot about the nine tail fox early on. They started to reveal it uh, later in the series, and even then, it was kind of peeled back layer by layer. They really didn't understand it all up until later in Shippuden. So, um, and it's really the same thing with a lot of these shows and series. They characters have secrets that aren't revealed. Ichigo had, secrets. Um, a lot of these characters have secrets, and you want your character to have either one big secret or many secrets that kind of tie together that are revealed over time and pulled apart like layers of an onion. Um, a series that kind of did that very well for its world, secrets of its world, was Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, he created masterful secrets that were revealed to you over time. And every time he peeled back a layer of an onion, you had two or three more questions after he answered one. And that was really well done. And as you can see, My Hero Academia is doing the same thing. There are secrets that Deku has that he is not even aware of. So even your main character may not even be aware of the secrets that they have, um, as far as the story goes. So going to uh, let me not make the same mistake again. Let me share the screen. Going to Immortal Blood. Let me see if I could. It's a TV in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I think it's the next episode, actually. What I'm looking for. Okay, it starts here though. It says he's here to kill his master. He gets upset. And then he attacks. and he flies into a fit of rage. So let's go to the next episode here. You guys can see it's an image of him in his fit of rage, and he attacks. And while a little while ago he was kind of being toyed with, the speed and power increase that he gets while he's in this fit of rage makes this very elite swordsman have to take him very seriously for at least a brief second, because he sort of surprised him. So, as you can see, this is sort of a hidden power that he has that has not been explained as of yet. And these are one of the secrets that Tetsuzan definitely has. So that's until obviously this swordsman has to take him extremely seriously in order to deal with him. So let's go back to our questions. Lie to your audience. So this is one of the biggest secrets that I can give you. One of the biggest tips I can give you is to lie to your audience. Every writer does it. They lie to you, and you love it. You want to lie to your audience and have them love it. So I'm trying to think of you go back to Attack on Titan, right? In the beginning of the series, they tell you that these Titans, that humanity is stuck behind these walls and that they're trying to find ways to survive. They send scouts out to try to reclaim, lost lands, and that it's very tough. It's a very tough job, and it's a tough way to live. And that they've been doing this for 1,000 years or so, 100 years or so, and this is the world that they built. And then you wind up finding out that that's all a lie. That there's another society, there's other societies, and that they've been at war with another nation that entire time. That the common people had no idea was even happening. They were at a war that they didn't even know was happening. And that's what kind of hooked all those fans. It was just the lie that you were told, and how he kind of peeled it back layer by layer to reveal the truth to you. And by the time you realized the truth, you were already so invested in the story, you wanted to see how it ended. So that's what you want to do. You want to lie to your audience. That is such a very important thing. To lie to your audience, you always want them to feel like you're telling them the truth, but you're not really being honest with them. So this is what you want to do. You want to lie to your audience. All right. So I'm not gonna discuss what the lies are in Immortal Blood. I'm not gonna discuss the lies because that would ruin my story, obviously. But just understand that everything that you see in Immortal Blood, if you choose to read it, or if you are a reader, I'm telling you now that it's not the truth. You know, that is one thing that I really hold to for any story that I write. You want to lie to your audience. Number 18, death should have meanings. So, um, some people kill characters off um, for shock factor or shock value, and honestly, um, even though death is a is a part of life, some people just aren't comfortable with it, and they actually prefer stories where no one dies, or at least none of the main characters die. So they have a story where someone dies. It's just the main character doesn't die. So you want that to be uh, a point where you don't want to constantly kill characters because people just aren't going to be interested, and you could turn fans off. And you don't want to turn fans off when you're just killing people for no reason. The death should have a meaning, whether it's to show that there are consequences in your world, or it serves as a motivation for another character. So, like when you watch Naruto, when Pain killed Jiraiya, it showed a lot of things. It showed that Naruto's world had consequences, as well as it served as motivation for Naruto to train hard enough to fight Pain, who was strong enough to defeat his master. So, or one of his masters. So that's what you want to do. You want your deaths to have meaning, and to have that death serve as a goal or purpose for another character, or to show that your role does have consequences. But you don't want it to be like a repetitive thing where you're constantly just killing people off, um, really for no reason. Uh, Even Attack on Titan avoided killing a lot of their characters until it was towards the end. So, uh, you take that for what it is, and that's one of the more brutal stories out there. They avoided killing a lot of their characters for a time period, unless it served a purpose and they wanted to close a character's arc or story. Number 19 is keep your character in character. We kind of talked about that before a little bit, which that means that you want your character not to do things that are out of character, uh, something from way left field, um, unless it also fits the narrative of the story. So nothing I'm telling you is 100%, and I want you to understand that nothing I'm saying is 100%. But you want to, for the most part, keep your character in character. And what I mean by nothing is 100%, for those people who watched Hunter x Hunter, Gon sort of transformed into something else in the Chimera Ant arc. He In the beginning of the show, he starts out as this innocent young kid who is very stubborn, hard headed, and he doesn't know when to quit. And but he always showed that he was a very loyal friend, and he'd do anything for his friends. And I think the author kind of took that trait about him and kind of perverted it into corruption, where he has a very dear and close friend of his die during the series, and when the character dies, he kind of goes into a bout of anger and depression that causes him to do something that is very out of character for him, and that is to kill someone. Uh, I don't really recall him killing people before that, at least in the manner in which he did it, uh, where he basically, you know, beat the person who was uh, the subject of his anger, uh, all the way until they were helpless, unconscious, and even dead. And he continued to beat them even after they were dead. Um, and that was just due to the grief and loss that he had faced. And he had a lot of griefs earlier that he never really released or expressed. Uh, and it just all kind of just boiled up into that point where he did something that was really out of character, but it was masterfully done. So if you're gonna do something like that, then that's fine. But otherwise, you don't want your character to do something way out of character. Meaning, like, you don't want to have a character like Goku, running around doing things, um, how Beerus does or how Vegeta does, unless that character is not really Goku, like Goku Black or something like that. But you kind of want to keep your characters in character. Like I said, unless it really serves a purpose. So the last thing here is to give your character relatable quirks. Um, so what I mean by that is you always want to, and this is the last point that I have here, is that you always want to make your character seem human. That way people can relate to them somehow, uh, and feel like, okay, this person is more or less realistic, because you're building a world that is not realistic. And there's also another thing about suspending belief. You don't want to suspend belief to the point where your story is unbelievable. But in this with this character, even though it's fantasy, you want to you know keep within the own rules that you created. But even with your character, you want them to be very relatable. So, um, you know, what I mean by making them relatable, and this is why a lot of shonen protagonists, as you can see, like in My Hero Academia, One Piece, um, a lot of those shonen protagonists, they cry. You know, they have sorrow or grief in their life, and they actually show that emotion. Um, it is to make them relatable. Um, you know, Luffy, he cries sometimes. Sometimes he shows rage or anger, especially when you are doing something to one of his friends that he's not particularly fond of. So you want to make sure that that's another thing that you want to do, is show that your character is showing these emotions, giving them relatable quirks, things that whether they play around, whether they goof off, whether they, like to eat a certain thing or like to eat, period. Or, you don't want a character running around that doesn't eat, that, doesn't do anything human at all. Again, unless it's for the purpose of the story, you have this alien character that for some reason doesn't have the need to eat or do anything human. And it's kind of the story is him kind of adjusting to human life or normal life or something like that, or earthly life. And that's the purpose of the story. But outside of that, you want your character to have relatable quirks so that people feel an attachment to the character himself. And you know that's really another really important thing that you want to um, incorporate into your character creation and world building. So those are all the slides that I created. When you have your uh, your world building, obviously, um, in Immortal Blood, I have treasure. I have um, artifacts called world treasures, and those are things that when I created one, I created more. So, and that's something that I want to have as a central point in my story. Um, these world treasures. So you when you do something like that, you kind of want to be able to expand on your story, ask yourself, why do the world treasures exist? Are there more? Are they different? Are they the same? Who can use them? Who can't use them? You know, why do these people seek these? Why do those, so these are just questions that you want to ask yourself. So the same thing that you do with the character creation, you do with your world as well. And if you follow those 20 steps, um, you're probably going to come up with a decent story and a decent character. And, just make sure you always follow your dreams and do what it is that you want to do. All right. So outside of that, um, I showed you guys Immortal Blood on Webtoon. I showed you a few chapters there. Uh, you know, and another thing, the same process that you follow with your main character, your central main character, you do for your other main characters, and you do for your antagonists as well. And especially the ones that you're gonna really focus on. You're gonna have some antagonists that it's not really that important to go into their background and things like that. But for the ones you really want to focus on, make sure you come up with a background for them too. People really enjoy villains. They really enjoy them, and they're actually the best to make. They're the fun ones to make. And I'll give you another tip that I didn't put in the slides for your villain. The villain in your story really is your opportunity to explore dark thoughts in your head that you have that you may not want to tell other people, or you may be kind of embarrassed to tell other people, or you don't want to say these things in public or have people think that you think these ideas, like, oh my god, you think that, or and it's like, no, I don't think that. It was just something I thought about, like, what if, or what about, or um and whether the dark thought, because writing it can be very therapeutic. So whether the dark thought comes from, just a thought that you had in your head, or if it comes from anger or sadness or depression or anything like that, your villains are the ones you really want to explore these thoughts with, and really expand on those thoughts uh with your villain. So um that's really a tip that I would give you is, when you create a villain, any of these bad or dark or evil thoughts that you have, put them in the villain, and it'll allow you to explore those thoughts using the villain in a very creative and therapeutic way. Uh, so that would be my suggestion. Outside of that, I am Creator Z. I am the creator of Immortal Blood. I have a few other stories in the works that I have not published yet. Some of them have a few pages or whatnot. You can follow me on Instagram at Immortal Blood Manga. You could subscribe to my Webtoon at Immortal Blood. Um, you know, and I actually do have a gaming channel on YouTube as well. I haven't put any content on there yet. Not I've put some content on there, but I haven't put some content on there in a while. So, um, but you guys can follow me on those platforms, and if you like what you see, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. Um, and I want to thank Couple Comics for allowing me to host this session. Uh, and thank you guys. All right.
Well, thanks to you, Z. Actually, we enjoyed this workshop so much. Uh, I'm sure our audience did love all the details you already gave, and they appreciate it all. But we got a couple questions messaged to me, so I'm going to direct them to you.
Hold on. Let me
Can you hear
do something
me?
about this TV. Hold on. Let me do something about the TV. All right. I can hear you, Andrew.
Okay. Well, we got a couple questions first. How to make my main character love fast or hate it fast?
Uh, so uh, loved fast. You would have to make them very cool. Now, usually that's reserved for like your secondary main character. And I can give examples for that, like Sasuke from Naruto or Killua from Hunter x Hunter. Those are like the secondary main characters. They're a lot cooler than the main character. They're a lot stronger early on or more skilled early on, where the main character is usually like a little clumsy or not as skilled. So that's how you would make them loved very quickly. You have to make them very cool. Um, uh, have your main character hated very fast. You'd pretty much have to make them like do things that are very repulsive to your average person. Um, you know, uh, but normally that's really related to if your character is going to be a villain, then you'll want them to be hated very quickly. Um, but the easiest way to have them do that is to you know do something that people would find very repulsive, such as killing babies or something like that.
Okay. Well, we got another one. Create the world first or the characters first?
Can you repeat the question?
Create the world first, the universe first,
Or the
or
character?
create the
Okay.
characters first?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was starting out with early on in the workshop was it really depends. Sometimes you may get an idea about a scenario and then you kind of work from the scenario. So you may think of like a world like what if you know what if it never rained again? What if it stopped raining? So people were like trying to secure water or something like that. Water was like a finite resource, and I wrote a story about that, something like that. So, that's kind of where I started at, and that's where I built the world first. So then I thought about the the characters and who would have the water and the companies and the governments and the this and the that, and I kind of built the world first, and then I created the character later. Outside of that, um, with Immortal Blood, I built the characters first, and then I built the world afterwards. So it really depends. It depends on what idea comes to your head, and what you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Another one. Create an old man as my main character as Inuyashiki, but problem is most main readers, do enjoy shonen characters and an old man character.
Yeah. So um, that's because most shonen are geared and directed at young kids, teenagers, and young kids, and young adults. Um, so most people put themselves when they're reading something, they put themselves in the situation that the main character is in. Most people who are young aren't going to understand the perspective of an old man. That's why most people don't do that as a main character, uh, as an old man. But uh, I mean, there are comics, but at the same time, like they did the whole old man Logan thing with Wolverine, but we Wolverine already had a name, you know. So building a story around an older character is a little tough. Um, but it can be done. I just think it has to be something where it's very interesting. Um, so like just off the top of my head, if you did a story, um, whether it was shonen or not, about a character who went into like a coma or something for and he was 25 years old or 20 years old and he went into a coma for 50 years and he woke up today and he has to deal with the world of like technology. you know 50 years ago civil rights in America wasn't the same. um, there was different dynamics going on in the world, women's rights. So just having a character wake up and have to be subjected to modern life, when it just seemed like yesterday he went to sleep and everything was just different. Technology, iPhones, things that are automated, like doors or faucets, things like that. It would kind of be interesting to see something like that.
That's cool. Well, we got an last one. Well, I'm an artist and I do my writings, but I can't get my main characters to fit into the character while I am drawing it. So, any advice about getting it done?
So, uh, what that person should do is really write a lot of their story, write the script. Um, Usually, like when I write script, I have months in advance of script, um, already done. And then when I realize that I'm catching up, I'll write more script. You know, so you want to stay ahead, and that way you just kind of go off the script, and you may get more ideas to kind of throw in, but you really want to follow the script. So if you're having an issue with that, it's probably because your writing is keeping up with your art. You want your writing to be way ahead of your art. So in terms of like content, so you want to really take time out. Don't draw anything and do a lot of your writing, and then you'll have a roadmap of uh what you want to draw.
Well, I think he meant more that he can't get the descriptions, the character he wrote into design, the character design he's trying to design.
So he can't design the character that he created.
Yeah, he can't fit the descriptions he wrote for the character into the character design itself.
Oh, I mean, okay, so uh I mean, I don't know if you do it, Andrew, but I mean, sometimes that's why other artists exist. So you know, if you're, and some people have a really good eye for certain things. Like, you know, um, there's someone I know who's very good at designing villains. So sometimes I may go to him and give him my ideas about uh designing a villain. He does it. I pay him like $20 and it gets done. He's more on the cheap side, but that's because he does black and white. But if it was color, it'd be like $40 or something like that. But you know, if you know someone who's really good at character design, and your issue is designing the character for your world, then get another artist to take a crack at it. And even then, even if they don't get it right the way you really want it, you can still make modifications because it's your story. So you could take the ideas that they gave you, what you liked and what you didn't like, remove what you didn't like, take what you did like, and put it together with some of your own ideas or from another artist or another artist or another artist. So there's times where I've asked 3 different artists to do the same character design. So just to kind of take from what I like and what I don't like, and then go from there.
Well, that's amazing. Well, and cool. Thanks for your answer. Thanks for the workshop. We enjoyed our time so far, and I'm sure many would benefit from this workshop. So many thanks again to you, Zell. Many thanks to showing us Immortal Blood manga. Links already shown on on the screen here. So please follow and subscribe to Immortal Blood on Webtoon and the past.
Yeah, don't forget, Immortal Blood is gonna cross over with N Smile very soon. So we're gonna have a lot of fun doing that, Andrew.
Yeah! Stay tuned, people, for this, because this crossover is going to rock Webtoon.
Yeah.
Many thanks again and goodbye.
All right.